immediately they look for fault. And they look for the question, who in here is the bad guy? And guess who that's going to be?
What's our first reaction when somebody does something that doesn't make sense to us?
I can't imagine who the fuck.
Yes, and yell at them in a certain way. Do you know what that way is? Some sort of control. It's blame.
In this chair, we love to blame, to complain, to punish, to gossip. But our supreme game in this chair is to judge.
I can't imagine who the fuck.
Somehow, we human beings, everybody, have the idea that blame solves things. I mean, think about it. I had an experience one time where two people, it was Christmas, and a couple were traveling to see a family, and they pulled off the road to call me because they were blaming each other about who didn't put gas in the car.
20270 at 6:29 p.m. November 15th.
This is the third time that the micro SD card has been removed from the dash cam. The first few times I thought it may have popped out because it's very tiny, and I thought maybe somebody went over a bump and it ejected. But this time I taped it in. So obviously somebody's been purposely removing it for whatever reason, because they don't want to be tracked, because they think somebody's watching them, because they don't want people to know where they go or something like that. Put the card back. If you do not want the dash cam on when you're driving, unplug it from the cigarette lighter. There is no internal battery. We have it up for insurance purposes. I can't imagine who the fuck would take the card out 3 times, but it's not coincidence or accident anymore.
How many additional memory cards do you generally have in your possession? Wouldn't it be a simpler solution to just replace the missing card and post a polite note inquiring as to any reason someone may have removed the previous ones, explaining the insurance function?
Guys, just go get gas. Because if you're blaming does not solve problems, but we do it. And you may have seen this clip by Brene Brown, but I think it fits here, so I want to play it.
Goes wrong, the first thing you want to know is whose fault it is. Hi, my name is Brene. I am a blamer. Let me just tell you this quick story. So this is a couple years ago when I first realized the magnitude to which I blame. I'm in my house. I have on white slacks and a pink sweater set, and I'm drinking a cup of coffee in my kitchen. It's a full cup of coffee. I drop it on the tile floor. It goes into a million pieces, splashes up all over me. And a millisecond after it hit the floor, right out of my mouth is this: damn you, Steve. Who is my husband? Because let me tell you how fast this works for me. So Steve plays water polo with a group of friends. And the night before, he went to go play water polo. And I said, hey, make sure you come back at 10, because I can never fall asleep until you're home. And he got back like at 10:30. And so I went to bed a little bit later than I thought. Ergo, my second cup of coffee that I probably would not be having had he come home when we discussed. Therefore, and so the rest of that story is I'm cleaning up the kitchen. Steve calls, caller ID. I'm like, hey. He's like, hey, what's going on, babe? What's going on? So I'll tell you exactly what's going on. I'm cleaning up the coffee that spilled all like dial tone. Because he knows. How many of you go to that place when something bad happens, the first thing you want to know is whose fault is it? I'd rather it be my fault than no one's fault. Because why? Why? Because it gives us some semblance of control. But here, if you enjoy blaming, this is where you should stick your fingers in your ear and do the no thing, because I'm getting ready to ruin it for you. Because here's what we know from the research. Blame is simply the discharging of discomfort and pain. It has an inverse relationship with accountability. Accountability, by definition, is a vulnerable process. It means me calling you and saying, hey, my feelings were really hurt about this, and talking. It's not raging for 15 seconds and figuring out whose fault something is. And blaming is very corrosive in relationships, and it's one of the reasons we miss our opportunities for empathy. Because when something happens and we're hearing a story, we're not really listening. We're in the place where I was, making the connections as quickly as we can about whose fault something was.
And the message is about what behaviors and attitudes we bring into the world in every moment. The jackal chairs to attack. And in fact, this chair here is the chair where we misbehave the most, to judge.
Obviously, somebody's been purposely removing it for whatever reason, because they don't want to be tracked, because they think somebody's watching them, because they don't want people to know where they go or something like that.
Hold your horses. Count to 10. Take a deep breath. Don't jump to conclusions.
Asked me why I had removed the memory card, you would have discovered you and I both had the same intentions, which is to obtain driving data insurance and safety. I will explain. I had angled the dash cam in such that it could catch a reflection of the speed odometer on the windshield during the late hours that Tyler was driving to various nightclubs. Instead of giving me the respect of asking why I might have taken the card, you chose the negative narrative of me that is your go-to-default perspective for all my behaviors and actions. Crazy, paranoid troublemaking.
Henry is insinuating I must be suffering from delusional paranoia. The phrase "because they think someone is watching him" is very clearly implying that a mental illness is the only explanation for such behavior in Henry's opinion.
Crazy, paranoid troublemaking.
So we also see a moment where Brian is asked if Gabby is taking any medication, and he actually calls Gabby crazy and laughs it off like a joke before answering.
Dr. Heisman says video shows signs of narcissism that led to an abusive relationship with Gabby, and it's now on display for the world to see.
To jokingly call her crazy is gaslighting, and it's flat out dismissiveness of the seriousness of what she was feeling, and it's abusive.
This is a social media posting where Henry refers to Robert, his ex, as being crazy.
No one is trying to gaslight you.